Well, just days then before France is set to officially recognize a Palestinian state, there's been a breakthrough in the investigation into the 1982 attack on a Jewish restaurant in the French capital. In what's been described as a major procedural breakthrough, Palestinian authorities arrested a key suspect in this case on Friday. That announcement actually coming from French prosecutors who were citing Interpol. 70-year-old Hisham Harb is suspected of leading the assailants in that gun attack on the Joe Goldenberg restaurant back in 1982. Now, 6 people were killed in that attack, 22 others injured, and Harb had actually been the subject of an international arrest warrant for 10 years prior to his arrest. For more on this, Shirli Sitbon joins me on set from our news desk. Hi, Shirli.
Hello.
So the suspects in this case were living in Jordan, the West Bank, Kuwait, and Norway. Norway was the first to extradite the one that was living there. The Palestinian Authority has now arrested a second. This is 43 years then after that attack actually occurred. Why has this all taken so long?
Well, not because the investigators were no good. It's actually probably most likely due to a deal that was sealed at the time by the French security services, the Interior Security Service, with the group that is believed to have carried out this attack. The group is Abu Nidal's Fatah Revolutionary Council, a splinter group from the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization. And at the time, Yves Bonnet, which headed the secret interior service here in France, he admitted years later that at the time he sealed a deal telling this terrorist organization, we're not going to go after you if you no longer carry attacks on French soil. And until today, he says, I did my job. I'm in charge of security in France. No terrorist attacks here. What happens elsewhere is none of my business. So yes, for years, we saw families of the victims asking for justice, asking to know what happened exactly. And yes, I talked a few minutes ago to an 86-year-old woman whose brother died there at the time. He was in his 40s. And she says, well, she hopes she can survive until there's a trial. But she says that if she doesn't, she'll see him in heaven. You know, all these memories. They survived the Second World War, were hidden as children. Their mother was killed in the war. So yeah, she still says now at 86, he's my older brother and I lost him that day.
Shirley, this U-turn then, presumably from the Palestinian Authority, the arrest, the extradition of a Palestinian terror suspect, all, of course, comes at interesting timing. That's days before France officially recognizes a Palestinian state. So is this something that French officials were likely to have wanted to get done before this recognition?
Yes, and they say so because that's the statements we can hear today from the foreign minister of France, saying that this arrest is the result of a process started by the President Emmanuel Macron, the process to recognize the Palestinian state, and that's why we were able to ask for this arrest. That's what he said today. And also this morning, the Quai d'Orsay, the foreign ministry, called in the survivors, not the survivors, but also families of victims, and told them that this is indeed the result of the work of the French diplomacy at the time. Now, this can lead to other things, of course, because other countries which did not accept to extradite the suspects living on their territory will be able to do so. The trial could be held perhaps sooner than planned. Well, we don't know exactly, but mainly the message here for the French is important because those in Israel especially and in the U.S. who criticize the French decision to recognize the Palestinian states with other countries, the critics said, well, you're rewarding Hamas because you're doing this now, almost 2 years after the attacks of October 7th. But with this, the French are showing, no, we're not rewarding Hamas. We're actually fighting terror, and we're changing the Palestinian Authority, showing that it can be responsible and take over and change their attitude regarding terror, because this is the first time they arrested a suspected terrorist who is a Palestinian and have handed him over to another country so he can be tried. So this is a major change. And France is trying to show that the move it's taking is a good one for Israel as well and for Jews in general.
Shirli Sitbon, thank you very much.